Hello. Hello. Anyone here? Can anyone hear me? Hello guys, welcome to Trash Talks. This is episode number 6 and I am your podcaster, Random Girl. Before we start, let me suggest you something. If you are listening this just for demo, I would suggest you to grab earphones and dive into this, because with earphones you can concentrate more to this without any disturbance from outside. Happy Holi guys! Let me start with the most listened word of all the time, that is Holi is the festival of colors. Now, before going to the main content, let's just take an oath. No! Don't worry, I won't tell you to stop using water. Even though it is also necessary to use water in a limit and not too much. But I want all people to understand about colors on animals. Please, please, it is a request from me that if you are playing Holi, please do not throw colors on animals, because the colors are mostly made of chemicals and we know mostly animals lick themselves for cleaning them. Yes, they use their tongue to lick and clean themselves. So, there is a possibility that they can lick the chemical which can make them sick, or it might be poisonous for some of them. Adding to that, many colors even react to human skin and cause rashes. So it might also cause skin infections to animals. And as they can't speak, they will bear the pain silently. Now, I want you to ask yourself only one question. Do you want an animal who can't speak and express their pain to suffer from skin irritation or any stomach problems just because you wanted to have some fun with colors? No, right? A human with emotions and brain will never want that. And that's the reason I am requesting to everyone who is listening to not to throw colors at animals. Now, first things first. Let me tell you when we celebrate Holi. Holi is celebrated in the full moon day in the month of Falgun. It is also called the Spring Festival as it marks the arrival of spring. And in this prosperous day of Holi, let me tell you stories related to Holi. And these stories are from ancient Hindu mythology. The first one is Krishna and Radharani. The Holi of Braj is famous all over India and its intimate connection with the divine deities and their love blaze. It is said that when Krishna was a young boy, he asked the reason for his dark skin color, while Radha was so fair. His mother Yashoda playfully suggested that he should smear color on Radha's face too and change her complexion to any color he wanted. Captivated by the idea, Krishna proceeded to do so and thus introduced to the play of colors on Holi. Explanation. Even today, Holi is one of the most important festival of Braj, where the men of Nandgaon and women of Barsana play Latmar Holi in the remembrance of playful throw of colors by Krishna on gopis and their resistance. Number 2. Sacrifice of Kamdeva. According to Hindu mythology, the world is looked after trinity of gods: Lord Brahma, the creator; Lord Vishnu, the nurturer; and Lord Shiva, the destroyer. According to a legend, goddess Sati, the daughter of Daksha Prajapati, one of the first sons of Lord Brahma, married Lord Shiva against the wishes of her father. Thus, Daksha did not invite her and her husband to grand yagya arranged by him. When Sati came to know about the event in her father's house, she thought it to be a slip of mind and proceeded to participate in the event despite the warnings of her husband. But once she reaches there, she realized her fault and was infuriated by the insult of her husband. As a penance of her disobedience, she entered the fire. When Lord Shiva came to know of her sudden demise, he was furious. Even after he controlled his anger, he started to serve meditation and renounced all work. The world's balance soon crumbled in his absence and Sati took rebirth as goddess Parvati. to try to win Lord Shiva's heart to wake him up from his trance. She tried all of the ways to get the attention of Shiva. When she had exhausted all her feminine ways, she invoked the help of Kamadeva, the Indian Cupid god who agreed to help her in the cause of the world despite the risks involved. He shot his love arrow on Shiva's heart. Disturbed in his trance, Lord Shiva opened his third eye and fired anger and instantly incriminated Kamdeva. It's said that it was on the day of Holi that Kamdeva had sacrificed himself for the good of all beings. Later, when Lord Shiva realized his mistake, he granted Kamdeva immortality in invisible form. The moral of the story is the incident of burning of Kama is called Kama Dahana or Holi, as the lust was won over by Lord Shiva. The Kamadhana or Holi festival is celebrated as an event associating with the bliss of God. So, following the Kamadhana, during the Holi, people put powders on themselves and others, remembering this victory over lust. Number 3. Invincible Dhundi. During the reign of Prithu, there was a terrible ogress called Dhundi who loved to devour innocent children. She had performed several penances and had won several boons from the deities that made her almost invincible. However, due to a curse of Lord Shiva, she was not so immune to the pranks and abuses of young boys as she was to weapons and arrows. One day, the courageous boy of village decided to get rid of her forever and chase her away from the village forever. They got intoxicated on bhang and drunk and then followed Dhundi to the limits of the village, beating drums, making loud noise, shouting obscenities and hurling insults at her, and continued doing this until she left the village for good. Explanation: this is the reason that even today young boys are allowed to indulge themselves in rowdiness, using rude words and intoxication on Holi. Number 4. Bhakt Prahlad and Holika. There was a mighty demon king named Hiranyakashipu who won all the 3 worlds of heaven, earth and hell, and had thus become very proud. He assumed that he could defeat even Lord Vishnu with his valor. He went to the extent that he had enforced a law that everybody would worship him instead of gods and deities. However, his little son Prahlad refused to accept his commands and continued to worship Lord Vishnu with complete devotion. Infuriated by this defense of his son, he ordered his soldiers to throw him down a hill. Praying fervently and having full faith in Lord Vishnu, Prahlad did not react from his word. True to his faith, Lord Vishnu rescued him at the last moment. Flustered by this news, Hiranyakashipu invoked the help of his sister Holika, who had a boon that she could walk through the fire unharmed to do away with his son. The wicked aunt agreed to the evil desires of his brother and entered the fire with her nephew Prahlad. However, the brother and sister had forgot that Holika could only enter the fire alone or she could perish. Thus, blessed by Lord Vishnu, the child Prahlad remained unharmed, but Holika got burned and died instantly. Holi is thus celebrated to commemorate the death of the evil aunt after whom the festival is named, and the new life granted to Prahlad for his devotion and faith. To this day, cow dung is hurled into the fire and obscenities are shouted at the holy fire at some places to insult Holika. Moral of the Holika story: those who love God shall be saved. That torture the devotee of God shall be reduced to ashes. When Holika was burned, people abused her and sang the glories of Lord and his great devotee, Prahlad. In imitation of that, people even today use abusive language but unfortunately forget to sing the praises of Lord and his devotee. So these were the main 4 mythological stories behind the Holi celebration. If you have noticed all of the morals of the story, you can now understand why we throw colors at each other's, throw powder color at each other's, why we used to consume bhang, why we do burn the home or burn holika just before the day of Holi. If you're still listening, thank you so much for that. Hold on, I haven't finished yet. If you're listening this on Spotify or Apple Podcast and cannot see any comment option, you can send me your feedback by Twitter. Tweet your suggestions, love, thoughts with the hashtag randomp_podcast_anchor. If you're listening this on headphone app or website, you can comment directly under the episode. If you're sharing a screenshot listening to my podcast, don't forget to tag me. If you want to share your story, you can message me directly in Twitter or in Instagram. Just say, hello, I have a story I want to share in your channel. Your identity will be kept private. If you like this episode, please follow my page on Twitter and Instagram to get the latest update at @randomp2021. If you are listening this in Apple Podcast, please help me by giving 5-star. Hashtag and link both will be in the description for your ease to find me. Thank you so much. Happy Holi once again. Take care. Peace out.